Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 3 of the F1 2019 Charles Leclerc Road to Glory Career Mode, obviously driving with the Ferrari team. And this time out we head to China, obviously Shanghai, around one of the more peculiar circuits on the Formula 1 calendar. But yeah, excited obviously once again to be moving into this race. If you're new around here as well, make sure you do hit that subscribe button. We are getting so close now to 10k. I think we're about 110 away at the moment, so obviously it would be greatly appreciated if you would hit that subscribe button. Obviously we're trying to hit 10k by the end of the year. Yeah, but let's move on then into the Chinese Grand Prix weekend. Obviously we start off like we always do with qualifying, and really looking forward to this one on the whole. You know, excited for another Grand Prix weekend ahead of us here in Shanghai. Obviously after the highs of the opening 2 rounds of the season as well, you know, looking forward moving into this one. If you have missed out on the opening 2 rounds of the season, I would highly recommend going back and checking them out. You know, they were 2 very exciting and interesting races, both in quite unique ways. And I can say in hindsight, this one certainly is once again. You know, a lot of people give a bit of hate towards, you know, sort of 25% races, but personally, so far this season they've churned up almost, in some cases, more action than the Williams Road to Glory, which is obviously 50% races nonetheless. So yeah, really looking forward to this round as well. And obviously, as I said, if you are new around here, make sure you do get yourself subscribed to the channel. But let's move in then, as I said, onto our qualifying lap. We'll do the side-by-side comparison with the 2018 pole lap as well. It will be Charles Leclerc riding on board with for this 2019 qualifying lap versus Sebastian Vettel's 2018 pole lap, obviously back in the slightly higher downforce era of Formula 1 cars. Theoretically, the 2018 car should have quite a big advantage around here, but as we've seen in the past, that is not always the case. But yeah, I think we're almost ready then for our qualifying laps, making a couple of final adjustments to the setup there, just dropping the rear tyre pressures ever so slightly. And let's move on then into this comparison. Off the start line, then you see running in towards turn 1 of the 2018 car actually carries quite a bit more momentum down towards turn 1 here. Break through in towards turn 1 and obviously turn 2 and turn 3. It's a bit of a weird, very long corner that almost folds entirely back in on itself, as then you open up through the through the left-hander even on the exit. Now, on the exit, you can see on the 2019 car struggling actually for a bit of rear-end traction. Unfortunately, it was really struggling to try and get the power down on this car. In hindsight, I probably should have reduced the ballast ever so slightly more. You can see just once again having to try and correct the slide, but already Sebastian Vettel's 2018 lap just goes to show how important, you know, the aerodynamics was on those cars as we come through the next couple of corners. Though he's near enough a second up, if I'm not mistaken, already by this point of the lap. You can see he goes under the DHL bridge, and then we are going under a good sort of second later there, running a little bit deep in towards the next corner there. And now as we come through one of the most critical corners on the lap, out onto the back straight here, got to try and get a nice good run stroll for as little speed as possible here, but also give yourself a good amount of momentum as you come down. There's a long back straight here. Activate the DRS, the second one on this lap, almost up to 210 miles an hour as we break now down just before the 100-meter wall in towards this second gear hairpin here. Through the corner, make sure you get nice traction on the exit there, and up in towards the final corner of that. You just got to be very brave, take a lot of curb on the way through, use all the track space on the exit and down towards the line. It is only going to be P4 then in that session. A little bit unfortunate at the end of the day there. So yeah, a little bit frustrated with that one. But honestly, with how much we were having to try and save the rear end, P4 is probably as good a result as we could have expected there. Lewis Hamilton starts on pole ahead of my teammate Sebastian Vettel there, with Valtteri Bottas 3rd and myself in 4th, with the Red Bulls 5th and 6th. But yeah, let's move on then into the Chinese Grand Prix. So here we are then, ready for round 3 of the season, and so far it has certainly been quite a success story for Charles Leclerc. Obviously 2 podiums in a row so far in 2019, and I'm sure he'd love to try and keep the streak up as we move into round 3 here in Shanghai. Obviously a win back in Bahrain last time out, and obviously a 2nd place in Australia. I'm sure we'll be hoping for another win today. Try and do the back-to-back as we move into the European phase of the year. Obviously next time out will be the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. A 3.3 mile circuit here with 16 turns and 2 DRS zones. Obviously the most important being between turn 13 and the hairpin of turn 14, right towards the end of that lap. Really excited to see how many overtakes, you know, can be made down the straight. But in terms then of the grid, it will be Lewis Hamilton taking his second pole position in a row here ahead of Sebastian Vettel, albeit a little bit of a larger margin this time out, but still only 0.04 of a second dividing the two guys on the front row with 9 even world titles even, I should say, between them. Valtteri Bottas and Charles Leclerc, row 2, Pierre Gasly and Verstappen, row 3, with Sainz, Magnussen, Hulkenberg and Danny Rick rounding out the top 10 there, with Lance Stroll, Grosjean, Sergio Perez, Raikkonen over at Sauber, Danny Kvyat, Lando Norris, Alexander Albon, Antonio Giovinazzi, George Russell and Robert Kubica round out the grid. So we're in for a very, very exciting race on the whole. The top 4 cars so far have really shown to be very, very close on pace, and obviously, hopefully, we can see another race like that once again. And even Red Bull on their day can really begin that fight as well. But yeah, let's move on then into the Chinese Grand Prix. Obviously, should be a fairly textbook one-stop Grand Prix, but with the Hypersofts, the Ultrasofts even tend to have a way of going off very, very quickly around here, as I found out back in AOR. It could be an interesting race on the whole in terms of strategy. But here we are then on the grid, ready for round 3 of the year here at the Chinese Grand Prix. It is 5 lights, and it's lights out, and away we go there. Bottas off to a very, very good start, as well as Max Verstappen from behind me here in towards turn 1. We're going to be going 3 wide with the Red Bull cars that we do hanging out to dry, though, through the corner. And Gasly is already bailed out of that one. Then lose the back end, though, ever so slightly through the corner, and that's going to mean Verstappen right around the outside is going to be able to hold on there. Completely parks it in front of me. Not too sure what that was all about, but Verstappen moves himself up into P4, and that has not been the start that we needed to this Chinese Grand Prix. That we think about going for a late lunge up the inside, but still 14 laps to go. We've certainly got plenty of opportunities to be trying to make the move work once more there. Bottas and Seb actually going side by side through the next couple of corners there, and this is giving Lewis Hamilton a golden opportunity to try and make a breakaway off the start here. Just look at the overdrive we get through there, but then run very, very deep in towards the next couple of left-hand corners here as we come in towards the third and final sector of the opening lap here. We've got Pierre Gasly now trying to apply the pressure as well. But, we're still all over the back of Max Verstappen here, and that Red Bull most likely won't quite have the momentum down the straight here. We short shift just up a little bit to give ourselves the best drive as we possibly can. No wheel spin, no fuss in that sense there, and it appears that it has paid dividends. We're going to have the slipstream, no DRS just yet. Obviously, we move to the inside of Verstappen here. Are we going to be able to make the move? Well, we should be able to there, and yeah, we're comfortably ahead of him before the next corner. Accidentally lock up and go up the inside of Valtteri Bottas there, so we're going to give him back the place because that wasn't really the intended move that we were going for. They just could not score off the speed on the inside front tyre there. With heavy fuel and everything like that, it can be quite difficult to do so on the early stages of this Grand Prix here, especially in this Ferrari car there. But, we've given the place back to Bottas here, but I'm not afraid to try and defend and go for the attack mode once again there up the inside through turn 1 and turn 2, and that moves us now back up into the podium places of the Chinese Grand Prix here. So that's overall been an okay start to this race, up 1 place, and now we've got to try and hunt down my teammate Sebastian Vettel here. But by the end, though, of lap 3, we would actually be diving in for our 1 and hopefully only pit stop of the Grand Prix here. Hopefully we can try and get off to a nice clean pit stop if we get the car slowed down actually very, very nicely on the whole there as we came into the pit lane. So quite happy with that one. Hopefully it should be a fairly textbook clean stop as well by the Ferrari team. Yes, it is a 2.75 second pit stop. Okay with that, and now we've got the fresher tyres. Hopefully we can try and do what we did at Bahrain and work the undercut strategy out to our advantage here, but only time will tell us. We now exit the pit lane here. Got to try and make sure that we get a very, very good outlap here around this Shanghai circuit as we come through turn 1 and turn 2. Cold tyres does make it a little bit difficult to try and get the car turned in there, but we were able to get the car nicely balanced through the first couple of corners there, out of the final corner, and you can see just how hard we're pushing, using a bit too much of the track space there, but a lot of drivers now in the pit lane. There is Lewis Hamilton, and we have jumped my teammate Sebastian Vettel there, so he must be kicking himself for that one, for opting to go just a little bit longer. But there is Lewis Hamilton there, the net race leader, and we've actually got Robert Kubica in between us here, so hopefully we can try and get past him as quickly as possible there in the Williams car. It just doesn't appear like Williams have been able to make any sort of progress from the 2018 season. We're going to go for a late lunge up the inside of Kubica there. He actually notices it and avoids it. Gives me a little bit of a push on the exit of the corner, but he will be able to hold on to that P6, but not for, sorry, that P10 even, I should say, but not for much longer. We now move ourselves back up into a net second place of this Grand Prix. And now we've got to try and close up that gap to Lewis Hamilton, who is still obviously in the lead of this race. Through the next couple of laps we go, though. We are slowly but surely closing that gap down to the Mercedes man here. Are we going to be able to make any sort of move work down at that back straight? Are we even within the the DRS even, I should say, overtaking window? Let's find out. Yeah, I think we should be close enough, but I don't. It's going to be interesting to see how much we can try to capitalise it from it. Nonetheless, here as we come out onto the back straight here, we're going to use the hot lap mode, flick it back down to overtake once you get up into 7th gear there. Rich revs, everything like that. The DRS has now been activated as well. And just look at the overdrive we've got on the Mercedes man there, 208 miles an hour there. And round the outside we go. Brake just a little bit too late though, unfortunately. And that's going to give Hamilton the opportunity back up the inside through the next corner there. And well, that's a little bit unfortunate there. Not the move that I had in mind, but hopefully we should be able to try and get a good run through the final corner here. Activate the DRS once more as we come down the start-finish straight here. We're going to use a little bit of the ERS as well. The Hamilton tries to give me the squeeze to the outside as we come in towards turn 1 there, but we try to swing it right around the outside there. Who is going to come out on top? This is fantastic battling with the Mercedes man at the midway stage of this Grand Prix. He does give me the room on the exit of the corner there. We try to get the power down nice and tiny there, but lose the back end once again. Hamilton right around the outside he goes there. Is he going to be able to hold on to it? We're going to send it down the inside through the next corner there and get the wheels on the gravel ever so slightly. And Hamilton is once again going to try and get the momentum. No, he cannot this time round. And we now move ourselves up into the lead once more of the Chinese Grand Prix there. So that certainly was a very, very exciting, good side-by-side battling with the Mercedes man. But we now move ourselves up into the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix. The full 25 points on offer here around Shanghai. But is Lewis Hamilton once again going to be close enough to go for a move down the back straight here? It just goes to show, you know, with these new aero brakes, how much battling can be had on the Formula 1 circuit here as we come out onto the back straight here. Are we going to be able to break the gap? I don't think we're going to be able to break the toe as much as I would have liked. Lewis Hamilton is already gaining there before we even get into the DRS window, so he is certainly going to get a whole lot closer here as we come down in towards the hairpin once more. The Hamilton on the inside once again here. He's going to hold it on the curbs. He hangs me out to dry. Actually, they're very, very aggressive from the Mercedes man there as he tries to hang me out over the curbs. But we're going to be so close through the final corner. Almost contact made between the pair of us there. Use the DRS once more to the outside in towards turn 1 here. And he tries to give me the squeeze once more there. But to the outside once again. Are we going to be able to make it work second time round? No, we can't. Run a little bit too deep there. Almost get the car over the grass, but we have been able to hang around the outside there. Hamilton, though, comfortably ahead there. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, actually, as he tries to slam the door shut just as we try to keep the nose in there. Lose the back end on the exit of the corner there, and unfortunately, that was going to be the place lost once more there. But obviously, back straight once again. Another golden opportunity to try and go for another overtaking move here on the Mercedes man. Activate the DRS once more there to the outside once again, and well, once again, nothing that Hamilton can do against myself. They dip the wheel on the gravel, but make sure this time round we get the car slowed down nice and tidy, and that is us now back up into the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix once more here. And what a titanic battle it has been with Lewis Hamilton so far in this Grand Prix. But sadly, it wouldn't last for all too much longer. They exceed by lap 10. Hamilton was already struggling to match our pace here, and it's clear that he was struggling with a couple of issues as we come through the next couple of corners there. Jeff had already been on the radio saying he'd had a small issue with the car. But as we come out onto this little straight here, you see, just look behind us, and Lewis Hamilton is completely stopped.
They seem to have an issue.
Hamilton, there we go. Jeff's confirming on the radio that Hamilton does have an issue. He's not actually out of the Grand Prix, but he has got a huge amount of, well, I think he might have actually got a puncture on that Mercedes car there. So heartbreak for Lewis Hamilton in this Chinese Grand Prix. Hasn't quite had the luck of the draw so far this season, obviously. I think obviously at the points finish all the way back at Australia, and then a not particularly good score in China as well. And the safety car has been deployed there. That is going to certainly shake up the final couple of laps of this Grand Prix there. That was not what I was expecting at this late stage of the race. And now we've got a safety car, and this could be absolutely critical for myself in the latter stages of this Grand Prix here. Are we going to be able to do any sort of defending from my teammate Sebastian Vettel? We saw in Australia how quick he is off the safety car restarts here. So what is going to happen with this one here? We've got just 2 laps to go of this Grand Prix by the time the safety car does come in, and this is going to be one defensive drive right the way through to the very end. You can see we're trying to get a bit of heat back into the tyres here as well. The safety car will be in on the end of this lap, so now we've got to really try and control the pace and get as good start as we possibly can. And we're just trying to keep the pace as low as possible as we come in towards the final couple of corners of the lap. Who is going to come out on top here in Shanghai? It's once again going to be myself versus Sebastian Vettel. They're out of the final corner. We're going to floor it now through in towards the final corner. Now we go running a little bit wide though. Unfortunately, the cold tyres clearly costing us a little bit of momentum through the final corner there. Seb, he's going to actually have a look at the inside in towards turn 1 here. Is he going to be able to make this work? Once again, we've been side by side plenty of times so far in this race, but look at that, Sebastian Vettel. We struggle with the rear end of the car there. Max Verstappen's almost going to try and look around the outside, but we hang on to P2 there. But just look at how much we're struggling with the rear end here. We slammed the door shut on Max Verstappen there, but Seb once again has been the king of the safety car restarts here. I don't know what it is, the AI, well, in all fairness, the AI tend to be so OP off those safety car restarts here. And just look at that, Seb has already built himself up a 1 second window here of the restart. This is not what we needed in this Grand Prix, but sadly, that would be what would happen there. Seb, look at that by the end, a 2 second margin over myself, and just a bit of heartbreak right towards the very end there, robbed by that safety car. But Seb did absolutely everything he needed to, got those tyres in a bit of a better operating window off the restart there, and unfortunately, we have paid the price through the final couple of corners of the lap. Sebastian Vettel comes through for his second race victory of the season. It is going to be the second one too for Ferrari. 18 points in the bag, but the win was certainly on the table there, and I kind of feel a little bit robbed.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
So yeah, very frustrated with that at the end of the day. Certainly felt the win was on the car, but ultimately, you know, just not able to make it work right at the very end. So yeah, very. But obviously, 18 points in the bag, though, is still certainly a very good result there. But yeah, Sebastian Vettel takes home the race victory ahead of myself, Charles Leclerc. Pierre Gasly in P3 there with Verstappen 4th. Bottas drops down to P5 there. Couldn't even match the Red Bulls in the race there. Look at that, actually, the gap between Verstappen and Gasly, I didn't realise that at the end. 7 thousandths of a second as well there. With Magnussen 6th, Hulkenberg 7th, Grosjean in 8th, Danny Rick 9th, and Sergio Perez in a P10 with Lance Stroll, Carlos Sainz, Norris, Raikkonen, Kvyat, Giovinazzi, Hamilton, Albon, Russell, and Kubica rounding out the order there at the end of the day. So certainly a very mixed up race there. Not actually, I think, what's that, 5 or 6 drivers at the end of the day finishing where they started at. But in terms of the Drivers' World Championship, obviously consistency has been key so far, and even though Seb has taken home more wins, we still lead the way by 11 points. Pierre Gasly drops back down to P3 overall, with Verstappen moving up to 4th, but Romain Grosjean holding on to P5 in the World Championship so far. A fantastic job by him, with Hamilton, Perez, Hulkenberg, Kvyat, Valtteri Bottas on only 10 points is behind Danny Kvyat in the World Championship. Raikkonen, Sainz, and Ricciardo all tied on 2 points there, with a couple of drivers on 1. And in terms of the constructors, not too much has changed there. Renault jump Toro Rosso there as we now jump over the 100-point margin. But there we are then, guys. That has been round 3 of the F1 2019 Charles Leclerc's road to glory with the Ferrari team. If you are new around here and you have gone on to enjoy, make sure you do get yourself liked and subscribed to the channel. But yeah, hopefully I will see you guys next time as we head to Europe for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.